Welcome back. Journeys to Mount Shasta. This is Yi Chen. Thank you for joining us today. Haven't seen you guys for a while because I was taking a long break because I was going through some personal emotion, So that's why, take a break. And then today I'm so excited to come back. And then we also invited a special friends going to join us. But before that, you know the drill. I am going to talk about our taku ironware, USA.com. Taku ironware, the company is based in Taiwan. The only location outside of Taiwan is in Cupertino. We have a shop in Cupertino. And then our product made with a different technology. It's a new generation of cast ironware. It's a premium quality with a smooth finish. Okay, so we make a cookware as well as a kettle. Kettle is mainly for boiling the water because it will leach the iron and make the water alkaline for healthier purpose. And our cookware pre-seasoned with the flaxseed oil. So once you take home, you can just rinse it off and start using it. But the regular seasoning, you still have to do it. But our service is much smoother than other sand casting cast iron ware on the market. So if you like to check us out, please feel free to do so. And especially if you're looking for higher end product of cast iron, is a taku, Taku, ironwareusa.com, taku ironwareusa.com. So that's our commercial today. We get that one out of the way. Now we can start our show with our special guest. And of course, we know our co-host is Linda. Linda, welcome on board.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. I've missed it. Anyway, I'd like to really introduce Marlowe. I met him through a medicine woman friend of mine, Janet Smith, and he has really enriched my life with his own teachings and the things that he does, and he can share some things. But we're going to start with having him. He met Ray at one of my sweat lodges, and after that, and he and Ray had an interesting little exchange, and then he had a really profound dream that he's going to share with I Ching about Ray and some of his experiences being called to Mount Shasta. Janet Smith had told him, come to Mount Shasta. And this is Mount Shasta calling him and continues to call him. So I'd like to introduce Marlowe, a real gift to all of us. Thank you, Marlowe.
Oh, thank you. And good evening and blessings. And thank you, I Ching. And thank you. A pleasure to meet you. And thank you, Linda Held.
Thank you.
I am very grateful for both of you and this opportunity to share experiences and to learn from each other's experiences in this world today. So the dream that I had, I believe the dream world is a very important cross-section of our human being, our mind, body, and spirit. And after a sweat lodge, it was either the first or second sweat lodge that I was really involved in Mount Shasta. I met someone named Ray, Mount Shasta, as well known as Mount Shasta Ray. We had a conversation in the traditional sweat lodge after we all gather to kind of bond and eat in Wapilia, they call it. And so we were just having a casual conversation, actually. And we talked a little bit about a few things. He asked me if this was the first time I had been to Sweat Lodge, and I said, yes, it was. And he told me that he's done these things, and he was grateful for Linda and the experience and how I thought about it. And I said it was just a really wonderful experience, the whole the way that the lodge ran and how I felt during it and after. And then we had just a casual conversation about he said he had an office in close to Mount Shasta, and he was involved in helping people, and he was retiring, and it was just a nice conversation, but we connected. We talked a little bit about recovery. We talked about healing ourselves as people and being transparent and in loving our authentic self. And I thought it was just a great little introduction of who Ray was, and I went off to talk to the next person who was in the lodge. And so that, when I drove back to Sacramento, I live in the Sacramento Valley, and I download a lot of stuff when I drive from Mount Shasta. And I had a lot of time to drive through the mountains and look at the sky and be appreciative of all the people that were involved in the lodge. And I got home that night, and typically, like after a sweat lodge, you sleep really well. And so I downloaded all the stuff on the way home and had good thoughts, and just was like, wow, this was such an experience to just be a part of. And I didn't think much more of, because I talked to everybody there, including Ray. And I went to bed that night and had this intense dream, almost like it was a lucid dream, where a little bit different than your regular dreams. And I do have quite a few of those, and where I could just touch, smell, and see. All my senses were just alive. And I was out in the desert, and walking out in the desert, and here next to me, is this gentleman I met at this Linda Sweat Lodge, Ray, Mount Shasta Ray. And he grabbed my hands and he looked at me and he said, Marlowe, I want to show you something. And so I said, okay. And I just followed his lead, and he walked a little bit with me, and then he pointed to the ground. And I looked down on the ground, and there were these pots, like little, pots, ancient pots. And some of them were used to pour things, and some looked like just a little jar, and they were beautiful, pots. And some were sitting on the ground, and some were in the ground. And he said, see these pots? He said, and I said, yes. He said, never forget these. These are really important. And I looked at each one of the pots, and he said, you will know what those symbols mean. And so I looked at the symbols, and there were these ancient symbols on each one of those pots. And I didn't touch any one of them, but I was just reveling in the beauty of these anciently crafted items. And that was it. It was gone. And I woke up and I was like, my gosh, this was an amazing dream about Ray. And, I just met this gentleman, there at the Sweat Lodge. And, Linda said that I might download information, or I could have dreams about the lodge or stuff. But anyhow, so I reached out to Linda and I told her, I said, hey, I got to tell you this story about Ray. I had this dream. We were out in the desert, and he showed me these little pots, and with these ancient writing on them. And we were out in the desert, and she said, oh, really? And she said, do you know that Ray for a long time, he lived in Sedona, or he's part of Sedona community. I was like, really? You never told me that? I had no idea. We just had a little casual conversation, and I was blown away about that. And then, as later on, then Linda said, they have a store with pots, like these pots. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I just, it's a dream that has stuck with me, Yi-Ching. It has really asked Linda. I tell Linda quite frequently about this dream, and I've been wanting to tell you about this dream.
Thank you for sharing.
And it was really not only the synchronicities of it and the powerful message of the dream, but the connection to other things that I didn't know about was kind of just some maybe message that was laid out for others to interpret in their own way of love and compassion. And I'm just a messenger, I feel like. And it's the same way as when I work with Lodge or the medicine wheel. I'm just a messenger for the Great Spirit and the ancestors and everybody else involved. And so I just wanted to share this right off with you and that dream. Now, what the symbols are, I'm not sure, but maybe I will know next month or next 2 years. Maybe somebody else knows. But what I will tell you is that it had a beautiful impact on me, being my first or second time at a sweat lodge and connected to Mount Shasta. And it was just another driving force internally, spiritually, that made me want to return to have another experience that would develop myself internally, just to so yeah, that's my dream that I wanted to.
So I Ching, do you want to share your dream as well about Ray, since this program's a little bit about Ray?
Yeah, but today, in honor of Ray, this is the third guest that we invited to, talk about Ray. So today is also another one that we feel like we like to do that for Ray and for me as well. Yeah.
Right.
And then I want to ask Marlowe, have you been to Sedona yet?
I've never been to Sedona.
Oh, okay. So
I've heard, I'm very familiar with Sedona and the spiritual qualities of Sedona and what it's a powerful spiritual location. And but I had no idea Ray was a part of that.
Yeah. So,
but I'm hoping to go there soon, and maybe that in that time, something will be revealed more to me. But I hope in my lifetime I will go there.
Okay. Just I guess it's just a confirmation for you, because you talk about Ray, talk about the dream, and talk about those parts, and then you're in the desert. So yeah, that's kind of very obvious message for you.
Yeah, like pointing the direction, like of the compass here. Like
But maybe we'll go together. We don't know, Maybe we'll go on a mission together, But anyway, because I also know the Sedona area well, especially the shaman's cave that I share with my friends and family on my YouTube channel, or some pictures on the Facebook. That would be a wonderful, wonderful place to go, But we'll see how this come along. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you, Linda, for asking me. Because past about a month that I was going through this process, and then actually one evening I just asked the spirit and said, I asked Ray, can you come to my dream? Can you come to my dream? Talk to me, I actually did that several nights before I actually have Ray came to my dream for the first time. And in the dream, we were in some place that there are a lot of people and a lot of rooms. And there's another young guy was kind of showing us around. And then clearly I can remember that Ray was there with me all the time. But he never spoke a word. But when I woke up, I remember he was there with me all the time, but he was like twice or three times as tall as me. And then he was also in a white robe. So, but he didn't say the word the entire time. He didn't say the word. But so that was a dream that I have with Ray first time, and I remember like maybe another week or so, and then I was also asking Ray to come to my dream, talk to me, and then actually he came to my dream the second time, And then, so in the dream, I remember that I asked him why you have to left me all of a sudden, And then the answer that he gave me, he said because his physical body cannot handle the vibration that he is getting, because he was getting a higher vibration, higher frequency. So he said his body just cannot handle it. And that was also very clear to me, that dream that he told me about that, because I constantly ask this question about why he have to left all of a sudden. So I got the answer. And actually, a couple nights ago, I starting to try to ask again, about Ray, ask him to come over. But I believe that was the last night or the night before. I just asked Ray to come to my dream again. So I want to ask him more questions. But then he didn't come into my dream. But in the middle of the night, I woke up, and then I got this clear message, and then just remind me, said, do not go that route, because if I just try to keep pushing about the why, and then there will be more questions for me to ask. And then the message, yes, the message was reminding me that stay focused, because I've been slacking off about a month not doing the podcast. So it's kind of interesting because, I've been experiencing more and more with connecting with the spirit, in a different way in my life, so also here to share with our friends and family here that this is what I have been going through, and then so the veil is getting thinner and thinner. So if we should just constantly do the meditation on a regular basis, and then bring the lights and then bring the love to the world, and we all need that. Yeah.
Well, we also need the rays and the Lillians and the people that are on the other side, because they're helping us raise this vibration and really making us be more focused, because since they're not here, we have to do it for them, and they're here to support us, because Ray shows up a lot and Lillian shows up, and what's the medicine wheel guy? I can't think of it. Sun Bear and Charlie Tom, and because they're on the other side, and so we are the spokesperson people for them, and like talking about Ray and sharing the dream, and like you said, let's not ask too many questions and make it hard. Let's make it easy on ourselves so that we can carry the energy that they're giving us, and sharing with us the teaching.
Yes. Yeah, and so, I slowly coming back by republish Ray's photo booklet the other day. So, I was guided to do that for him too. So I did that. So I'm feeling ready and then recharge, and then, continue to do our work together. Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier, because right now we have to be a part of a tribe, because we each have a different piece of the pie as to the teaching and the enlightenment, and really we always talk about, we don't know what our complete work is yet, but it's starting to manifest, and it's starting to perk. But Marlowe, do you want to share a little bit about the medicine wheel and how that's touched your life?
Yes, please.
Sun Bear, that would be wonderful.
Yes,
sure.
Thank you.
I would love that. Thank you, and thank you for sharing your dream, I Ching. So yes, I think the medicine wheel, it's been brought to me through channels of other people and energy, and through community and sweat lodge, and connections and having an open heart and love and compassion and being connected. We both talked about the other side and our ancestors, and they are there for us. They are our community as well as our community here. We're never really alone. And so one of the ways with the medicine wheel is I randomly during COVID-19, when everything just kind of really started with COVID-19, and there were like some big shifts, and you know the planet's going through a shift, and people are shifting, and everything's happening, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, going, you know, questioning a lot of things, and through whatever praying and meditation and some previous sweat lodges, I was praying to the Great Spirit and to the ancestors to, you know, show me some things and to, because I did feel alone, even though I wasn't alone, and I felt vulnerable. And so the way the medicine wheel was kind of brought to me is almost through indigenous teachings of how the sweat lodge works with the ancestors, are the oldest beings on our earth, and you know these stones, these rock stones that we use in sweat lodge, that we bring in our ancestors. Well, just so happened I, you know, had kind of picked up a few, been praying and was just drawn to the medicine wheel and since I had all this time on my hands, I started reading about it and talking to Linda about it, and she had a connection with the medicine wheel, and that made my just manifestation with it even stronger. And I started to go out and talk to Mother Nature and the plants and the earth and the rocks, and just like we bring in the lodge. And one day I figured I'm just gonna, you know, start reading through. I had known about Sun Bear and his teachings in the medicine wheel, and I felt very connected to it, so I started reading the book. And it's a very authentic representation of the medicine wheel in itself. And so I started gathering the stones for it and following the representation of it, and just following the Great Spirit, praying every day, following, asking for guidance, asking to stay humble, to keep love in my heart, praying to the four directions and things I learned in the lodge. And sure enough, some things started to manifest, and I, through one book, Sun Bear's Dancing with the Will, that Marlowe, you know, co-wrote too. And, you know, Sun Bear kind of laid out this map of what to do outdoors, and it's very it's a great book in that sense. And so I just started working with it outdoors, not just reading the book and taking in knowledge like we do books, but using it outdoors and talking to it and working with it. And because I was kind of alone, or at least feeling alone, because I couldn't sweat lodge, everything is in recovery. I mean, everything is in like COVID-19 closed down. So I followed directions with it, and the four directions. I set up a compass, and I set up the stone. I went and found each stone. So there's 36 stones to the medicine wheel, and so each one I prayed with each one each day, and I used the plant medicine on it, and the smudged it, and talked to it, and let it be. Had a connection with each one, and before I know it, and after each season, I worked with each side, and I would contact Linda and tell her about this, and Janet Smith, and I kept on growing and reading about each section and what each rock did and its connection to the next one, and the calendar and the moon and the stars and the sun. And before I know it, the whole thing was complete, and I was praying with it every day, and it was alive, it was activated, and it was just a beautiful feeling. And it's kind of a blur now, and in some sense I'm glad I'm telling this story, because each stone I worked with, you know, I would go get each rock, you know, and stone, and each one had a special purpose. And now it's a lot deeper because they're all connected. So that's kind of how I got into it. But I pray with it every day. I pray with, it's, the medicine wheel represents the circle of life, and the circle of the center of everywhere you are at the center of the Great Spirit, wherever you are at the center, so you are never alone. It's just a community thing too. So in saying that, I've prayed out there for, people who are hurting, and people who are happy, and people who are in times of need. And I pray for myself and my family. And also I just, it's a place to reflect and look at myself and how I can be with this planet, and what contribution she has for us. This earth is a beautiful place. So it made me more in touch with that. So that's just a touch of how I've gotten involved with it. And now it's a live living thing, just like our planet, just like a tree grows, and and there are different forms of the medicine wheel that you can form it into almost anything. So that's a little bit of how I got involved with it, I think. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, talk about medicine wheel. Actually, Linda and I, we have other episodes, previous episodes, we talk about medicine wheel. And we also talk about Marlowe's, because about four years ago, she and then her people built a medicine wheel in south of France. And then also about 4 years ago, Ray and I, we went back to Taiwan to activate the medicine wheel that we built. The location is almost in the center of Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then this medicine wheel is actually besides we build like 3 circles. The first one is a traditional 4 directions medicine wheel, and then the second circle outside of it, it's 7 poles. So it's like represents 7 days a week, 7 rays of a sacred flame, and then in the middle of building that, one of the people from the group got the message from the universe that we have to upgrade this medicine wheel, became a dragon wheel. So we add another circle outside of the second circle, and we have 13 poles, 13 lines between the second circle and then the third circle. So that was kind of interesting, a connection that, because today you also mentioned about medicine wheel, and then so Linda and I, we were talking about this, and then because she's going to go to Peru to do this moving through it with people that go together, and then she also shared with us about the 5D activation, Mother Earth 5D activation that she did about 3 years ago. So we kind of like connecting the puzzles, and these will be all coming together. And then she is going to continue to do that activation this month when she goes there with the team. And then for the medicine wheel, eventually I think we're going to connect more groups, more teams throughout the entire world that have been building a medicine wheel, in their country or in their city. Then we can probably do a worldwide the activation for Mother Earth for the 50. But I think Linda is the forerunner to do this thing. And then we can have Linda share a little bit about that because I think her trip is coming up, and then
Yes.
we can utilize today's episode. So yeah, Linda, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, when I went to Peru the first time, it was a very unexpected time that I went, and I made reservations on the 11/11 and had really no idea what was going on. And I met a woman, her name was Leanne, and she was there with like 5 people to activate the new earth in the Sacred Valley. And she and I were alone for, I don't know, several hours, and she was a very normal, nice person. I was asking her about it. And so then the next time I went, there was more activation on this, and it was before the pandemic, and it was December 15th. And I was at the Temple of the Moon, and I was just feeling this horrific feeling. And of course, I had no idea what was going to happen. And it turned out to be that I was feeling the world. And Leanne, this woman that activated the new earth, has just recently been in Egypt, and now she's in Glastonbury. So she's gone from Egypt to the temples and lots of pictures. So this is all interconnected with the medicine wheel and the activation that we're all a part of. And a lot of times, like Marlowe was saying, we feel very alone. But on the other hand, we're all, and there's no question in my trip, and the people that are going, I've said that we have a job to do to continue this 5D and to be really a part of this whole thing that's happening. Marlowe's in Sacramento with his medicine wheel, and I Ching is in Cupertino and in Mount Shasta, and I will be in Peru with a group with absolute intention of what we're talking about. This is not a light deal, and including my book, which is also moving through it, is about how we do this stuff and how we, like Marlowe was explaining in I Ching, of following the energy. And a lot of times it's not real clear as to, in the beginning, when you collect a rock or you do this, it's not real clear as to what the end product is. But like I Ching is saying, that once we can get this motivation going, we can actually be a part of this whole healing, this 5G of the whole world. And can you imagine if we all participate in a medicine wheel just all over? It will be, and like I said, this woman Leanne is doing stuff like that. She's not as much in the medicine wheel, but she's actually going to all these places for activation. And if you saw the pictures of her Egypt, and now she's in Glastonbury and doing the England thing, which of course is where the goddess lives. So it's just very interesting how we're all a part of this mystery called life.
Yes.
And we're following the energy, and often not really understanding why now, why doing this. And even when you were talking, I Ching, and I could see you very simply, you and Marlowe going on this adventure, because I've done stuff with I Ching here and going in the park. He has this mystical thing going on. And I could see you guys going to Sedona because he was hugging this. Well, I could see it. You know, it sounds like, because that's, you know, that's really what we're meant to do, you know, is to keep the energy moving and to make these changes. Because there's no accident that we're on this podcast talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Linda.
Yeah.
And I do think the medicine wheel, if I might say so, is, you know, you see it spreading through the world in different regions and different all around the world, and starting to because I think humans really have that internal drive to want to learn from the ancient roots, their ancient past. We have this DNA that's in us that wants to exhume love, and it's I think we're going back to some of those things, and the wheel really breaks that out. It's like connecting the dots. It really helps us evolve as humans into kind of look back at, you know, just by looking at this, it makes us look at our Mother Earth in a whole different perspective. And I could only imagine what it'd be like if we were all connected in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, it's the circle. You know, our planet is a circle. It's all basically a circle, and you know, so yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes. So yeah, Linda, I'm so excited about your book is going to be published. Would you like to talk about that a little bit more to kind of share some information with our audience, our families and friends here.
Sure. I actually started writing it in 2015, and I was using somebody else's name. And basically, it's the journey from my being a psychic at 5 and seeing the angels, and then how I got introduced into meditation. And I actually met a woman in San Francisco called Reverend Pearl Shannon, who used to meditate with Yogananda. And she was the first person that I could feel that I could really talk about these bizarre things that were going on with me, because in those days, you know, I would have been on medication had I talked to pretty much anybody, because I was seeing spirits and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of going through that, and I had the hesitation of doing that because it's some of it's kind of secret, my personal knowledge through the years and how this affected and how these spirits came to me, or how the teaching. And then I got involved in Native American, and that just blew my mind. I mean, I thought I wasn't sure if I'd live through it or die in a sweat lodge. And then I ended up being in a training thing with Charlie Tom. So it's all these things, and including doing recovery and all other modalities of hypnotherapy and pretty much anything. Once I realized that part of my journey in this life was to really not only be a spiritual person, but understand the psychological and help people with whether it be their own recovery or how you go from point A to point B. So I kind of go through storytelling and using myself as a story. And then I did Vision Quest with various different people and all over, and putting people out and I was so I'm an only child. So I can't really imagine not ever being alone, because I was alone most of my life with these crazy thoughts. But then I've met people that have never been alone, ever. You take them and put them out in the wilderness, you know, it can be very frightening. So we really do a preparation, and I kind of go through that, and I go through, you know, how it changes your life. And again, like Marlowe was talking, a lot of this is really about Mother Earth and relating to nature, because nature's the natural healer. And like with my clients and things, one of my preferences is taking them for a walk. You know, like I Ching and Marlowe, we've gone for walks. And a lot of times that's when the real deep stuff comes up, because we're not sitting looking at each other and, you know, really trying to decide, let's dive deep. You know, we're just visiting. And, you know, one of my gifts, I don't know if it's a gift, is people being around me having flashbacks. I've had so many people through my life that would start the conversation and go, you know, I have never told anybody this, and I just saw blah, 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 you know, and often in the sweat lodge, you know. And so that's not really surprising, because a lot of times our psyche has hidden these things, and we're probably not ready to handle them yet, you know. And when we are, they just come to the forefront. And then of course you either do therapy or do different modalities of how you deal with it and heal it. And it could be a past life. I mean, so many of us have had these profound past lives. And that's one of the chapters in my book, is to how my past life, I was in Paris, and the smell of Paris by the Seine in Notre Dame, a whole past life started unraveling of how I had been. And really the limitation and also the blessing, because I ended up in a convent in Scotland. And I kind of like that isolation. I like that whole prayer thing, sitting in the chapel. And and I was also a Buddhist, so living in a cave. So I really like that isolation and that reverence in this lifetime. And even Pearl, when she did a reading for me, said to me, that will be something you always have to fight, because I'm very social on one level and very introverted on another, which most the empaths are. You know, it's like I Ching saying that he spent this time this last month, or Marlowe, we go inward as people, and we're very comfortable with that. But we don't, again, always want to be alone, right? So that's kind of what my book is like, you know, and also being a part of this new tribe that's developing, and the importance of it.
Yes.
Especially right now, we're alive for a reason.
Yes.
So that's kind of sort of my book in a nutshell. But it took a lot of courage, and once I started doing these things, I was again reliving the process, very much so. And some of the stuff I'd forgotten, because, you know, life happens and you just kind of move on. So I've been in process not only about Peru, but my book and my whole life. It's not for the weak, believe me.
Yes.
So thank you, I Ching, for asking. I appreciate it.
Yes, while you're talking, this just came through that we have that a friend in Mount Shasta. What's his name? Pneumonology.
Oh, Darius.
Oh, Darius. Linda introduced me to Darius, and so I got a session from him, and then he gave me. He's a very, very, very good pneumologist, and so he shared with me about the Mount Shasta numbers. So on the many different levels that. The reason that so many people in Mount Shasta or so many people go to Mount Shasta and then writing the book, publishing the book, is because the number of the Mount Shasta is using the nowadays term is like content creators. So when he talked about this, I was kind of click. It's like matching my life after I've been to Mount Shasta, publishing the books and this and that, and then doing this podcasting thing, So that's kind of interesting. So it's very, very interesting pneumonology that he is, So.
Well, and you just republished Ray's book.
Yeah,
and you saw.
Yes, and then
actually,
during that time, we live in Mount Shasta, and I did publish 3 photo galleries, photo booklet like the one Ray has. I helped him to publish his, but I also published 3. And I'm thinking about republish on the Apple. When I get to it. So I also published book already before.
Oh, see, it's back. It's back.
Yeah, so I need to, not I need to, but I was guided to, republish that. So, and actually every day I'm doing this day 1, day 2 thing. That's actually the new book that I'm going to publish. But I will republish those 3 first on Apple. And then the one I'm doing every day, one picture and one meditation message a day, that would be the newest book that I'm working on. And thanks to you, because your inspiration, Linda.
It's wonderful.
Well, it's beautiful, and Marlowe hasn't seen it yet, but your artwork and what you're doing is so beautiful and so powerful. And your message, of course.
Yeah, thank you. And this is actually a color therapy series. And then this one, I want to have a subtitle will be Between Worlds. Because I don't know if you notice, one day I will have a painting that I painted on canvas, and I meditate on that. The next day, I will do the digital art. And then so I kind of take turn, canvas, digital art, canvas, digital art. So it's like a between worlds. Because remember, we have a conversation about we are doing so much work, not only our physical, but in our dream time, we are going back and forth. So that was kind of the idea that I used one canvas, actual painting on the canvas, and one digital, so it's like a between worlds. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So just to share with you, because I haven't told anybody about that, but this is the concept.
Well, you have now.
Yes. This is the concept I'm getting. I'm getting.
You're doing. It's happening, right?
Yeah. So I guess that's a reminder for Marlowe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you need to jot down some notes and with all your, journeys, shaman journey, medicine
Oh,
wheel,
yeah.
those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you're good with a computer. Actually, right now the ebook publishing is very easy, So, you can do that on computer. That's what I'm doing, So,
Nice.
yeah. No pressure, okay? I'm just.
Well, I think with Marlowe, he's being very humble and modest, but he's getting so many messages as
Yeah.
he's out of the medicine wheel
Yeah.
that you're right, because whether he do it through the computer or, voice record, because this is the thing is, like with me writing, there's so many of my stories that I'm sure I don't remember them all. I mean, maybe some will come to me, but as time goes on. But the thing is, we forget more because we don't always record
Yeah.
or do the note or whatever it is, because
Right.
life happens.
Right.
And Marlowe gets so many messages from all these teachers. And Sunbear I saw it today. I think it was his birthday or an anniversary or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he passed away, I was out in the Marble Mountains, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, hiked in, and we had a big sweat lodge for his passing, because he and Charlie Tom look very similar. They had wide cheekbones, good-looking, hottie guys, and and they were great friends. And Charlie was also with, I can't think of his name. Anyway, another big Indian guy. So these guys kind of hung together. And now Marlowe is channeling, and they're showing up at his medicine wheel all the time. And like
yeah. Go ahead, Linda.
No. I mean, you probably have forgotten more than, of the messages that you've had. So I think I Ching has a really good idea to start, either noting them down or writing on the computer, or like I said, voice activate it,
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. And I just, because I think writing is such a valuable human expression. And the way we write things down solidifies something that happens in this in moving space and time, and then we write it down. It's like it's a different energy form, and I think it's really important. And I think a lot of people are getting back to books, and we have access of technology now too. And I never really thought about actually doing that until you mentioned it. But I have channeled a lot of Sunbear, and some of these things. Like I even told Linda, when I was doing each section of this medicine wheel, and this took me a while. I went through this pretty to my best of my ability, that I felt that it felt natural. And he was coming to me in dreams, and I was swimming under the water, and I was being chased by a bear, and he showed up. I was on an adventure of him, like multiple adventures that he was testing me towards. And I even had one dream. I told Linda that after I dreamt about him, I woke up. I think it was the bear dream, but I woke up and he was standing in the corner of my room still. Wow. And looking at me. Yeah, and then he just kind of vanished. And I told Linda the next day. I said, "Oh my God, he showed up. He's here." He's like, and he would just kind of giggle at me too, like he's got a good sense of humor, But he kind of really empowered me to have this relationship with him in Mother Earth, and I think it's a wonderful idea to write some things down, and I'll probably take you up on that. Yeah.
Yes, you have to. I'm sorry, because
there's I Ching the teacher.
Yeah,
so
because when you're talking about that just now, I got goosebumps like nonstop. Keep going, it's getting stronger. So to share with you, this is the way I get confirmation. So I just get this confirmation for you. So please start doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think whatever you were channeled, you will learn. You're getting all the messages and the learning from Sun Bear and other spirit guide. I think those are very valuable information and messages that I believe a lot of people can get benefit from it. So I would think it will be a great way to present also your spiritual journey, using those. So that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, and yeah.
Now you have an assignment, Marlowe. Aren't you lucky?
I do.
We all do. That's what I Ching does. He does it, like I said, so humbly and modestly. And yet we're all on this path of, when people say they get bored, we don't really have a whole lot of time to get bored.
Yeah. That's great. Wonderful. Okay, I guess today's main purpose is getting Marlowe's getting busy again.
Keep me busy.
Yeah, keep you busy,
Yeah.
Yeah. So wonderful.
Thank you, I Ching, and thank you, Marlowe.
Oh,
This was
thank
really
you, both
fun.
of you. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Likewise.
I'm so happy to finally connect with you, and then I'm sure we will see each other in person soon, sometimes, somewhere,
Yes.
Okay, so I think we are going to wrap up today's episode. It's a wonderful conversation that we have in honor of Ray and learning about Marlowe, learning about Linda more, and learning about each and myself more. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Linda and Marlowe.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Blessing. Have a good, sweet dreams, everybody.
Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.